never take your body for granted. Never, ever take for granted what your body is able to do for you. Because before the injury, like physically, I was very capable of doing more than I was doing, but I think mentally something was like keeping me back from doing more. I was just like scared to push, scared to train for a marathon, scared to do this. And then the injury happened, and that's like, you know, like it's just ripped away from you.
Our next guest on the pod is one of our few pod fan members who hasn't been on the pod yet. She's the better half of Vern on the Bike. She's been doing wicked good by raising thousands of dollars for your local restaurants in the community. She might be eligible to claim a residency at the New York City Peloton studio. And recently, she's been on an epic comeback journey from a significant injury. And we're wicked excited to finally have her on the pod. Jenene Vernon, welcome
Hi,
to the
guys.
On the
Thank you
Runs
so much.
podcast. What's up?
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, we're so happy to
Love it.
have you. I mean, we were so happy to finally get a chance to meet you this past January
I
at
know.
the one and only New York City Peloton Studios. That was super cool.
Unbelievable.
We thank you for having us there.
Which is her
We're
second
glad to
home.
have you in our neck of the woods on our pod. So welcome.
I'm so happy to be here. Let me tell you that episode after the studio visit is just like, it was iconic. It was iconic. We literally on the way back, I think it must have been the way back from Peloton, either that time or like another time. We listened to that on the way home, and it was so much fun, like hearing an experience through through your eyes, right? And that's why we like to bring like first timers to come and whatnot, because every time we do that, we experience something new. But honestly, that recap was fantastic. And then you have, Pterodactyl, right? Like chiming in here and there. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. So if you haven't listened to that episode, you have to go back and listen to the post Peloton episode because it was so good.
You're the best for bringing that up again. We had so much
It was
fun
so good.
recording that. It was super unhinged. We were like, I don't know, punch drunk at that point on our way home. It was late. We were exhausted, but it was a blast to record that. Yeah.
It was the entire
studio
car.
high.
Seriously, yes.
Yes,
It was
you
the
know,
entire car ride back from the New
I know.
Haven train station
I
to
know.
Erica's house, basically. We're like, we'll do a 30-minute recap. You know, we should stop just saying we'll do 30 minutes or 20 because we just go on
Never
and
happens.
that episode
Yeah.
is one of my favorite. It's
It's the
definitely
best.
a top 5 episode.
Yeah, it was fantastic. You're always cursed. The people who say like we're just going to do 30 minutes or like I only have one short thing to say. Have you ever noticed that those are the people who go on and on and on? So as soon as you say like we're just going to do a short recap of this, like you should probably plan 2 hours for that because
Buckle
it's never
up.
going to happen. But I'll tell you, as you guys started getting closer and closer to home, I was like getting sadder and sadder. So I'm like, oh my God, it's going to end soon.
Oh, no.
It was just so good.
Well, that's my hook for Erica. I'll say like, hey, let's jump on and do like a quick 20-minute recap of something. Maybe I know internally it's not going to be 20 minutes, but all I got to
Never.
do is get her in her spare bedroom studio, turn on the computer, fire up the mic, and then she'll tell me the story. And it'll be like an hour and 20 minutes later. See,
Yep.
I said 20 minutes. I just
You're
forgot to say the hour.
There have been several times where I'm like, dude, I have to go to bed. We need to end this episode. Let's wrap this up. So yeah, we can be long-winded sometimes.
Too much damn fun.
So much fun.
So where are you right now? You're not at home. You're in a different
I'm not
setting.
at home.
We've had your better half on before, and
Yes.
the background looks a little different. Tell us where you are. What are you doing?
Yes, I'm in a hotel in Boston. So you would think wait a second, she's from Boston. I love to claim Boston as my home, but we're actually in Mendon. So for me, I had to come into Boston for work. This is where my office is, but like to take the train in is solid 2 hours, right? So I just decided I was gonna I was just gonna book a hotel room, but you guys will appreciate this. I forgot my sneakers at home.
Oh
Did
no.
everything packed. I left them right by the front door so I would not forget them for my run tonight. Forgot them. So, of course, I called Josh and I'm like, how do you feel about taking an impromptu trip into the city? That was too long for me to drive. I like to drive back and forth, but how would you feel about taking an impromptu drive into the city? So he's on his way in now to bring me my sneakers. He's just gonna stay the night.
Really? What a guy.
I need my sneakers. I need my sneakers. I need to go for my run tonight. So
Is he gonna bring your doggy with you? Your new
He
puppy?
is.
Oh gosh. If
He
you
is.
haven't seen her puppy, he is the tiniest little, like, what is he? Is he a Dachshund? Is that what he is? Like
He's
cute
a mini
little, like, he's a
dachshund.
little wiener.
I
Oh
had
my
a
gosh.
I had a wiener dog as a kid. We had Maggie.
Did you?
Yes,
We
she was a wiener
we
dog. She
had
was awesome.
we had no idea that there were so many dachshunds out there, and then so we got him in Tennessee. We did like a down, we did a down and back in one day. The Rock and Roll Nashville half marathon was that morning. We didn't do it because we found out about it too late, but
Ah,
we had friends who were doing it, so we went in the morning, cheered them on. Actually, one of Josh's athletes was doing it, and so we went in the morning, cheered her on, along with a couple of other friends. Picked him up in the afternoon and came home that night. And when we had him in the airport, of course, it's this tiny little thing. So many people are commenting, like, I have a dachshund, I have a dachshund, I have a dachshund. So they are the best. He has an Instagram. If you haven't been on it, check it out.
No
The Wiener
way.
Club. Mm-hmm.
Send it to
Link
me. I'll
the
throw it
Wiener
in the
Club.
show notes.
Please
The
do.
I saw a funny meme or whatever we call these things these
Yeah.
days. It's a lady doing a plank, and her dachshund is
Yes.
next to her, and the dog's like, I don't get it. It's not that hard. Why are you complaining?
We talk about that all the time. I have a fantastic picture of like his first week home, and Josh is doing a plank, and the dog slid underneath him, and he's just like looking up at Josh, like that. Like, what are you doing? What is the big
Yes.
deal about this? So it's Josh doing a plank, and then Lincoln are like right underneath him, and it's accurate. Like it's very very accurate. So yeah, he's a cutie pie. So I was like, all right, well, if you're gonna come and bring the sneakers, can you bring the dog?
That's
might as
awesome.
well. Oh, that's
Now
gonna be a
is he
fun weekend. Well, not even weekend away.
I don't
Weeknight
care. Just a
away for
night
you
away.
guys.
Just a
There
night
you
away.
go.
Exactly.
is he going to spend the night with you, or is he just like going right back home after that?
Yeah, no, I was like, you might as well. Like, we have, it's like we got a late checkout. You can work from here tomorrow. So,
There you
little,
go.
like a little impromptu, and now I don't have to be away from the dog for an entire night.
Let's be
So
honest. You
cute.
planned this so
Listen,
your dog could come to the hotel.
if I could have been that smart and that like sharp, I probably would have. I don't like to give myself that much credit. I don't think I could have like thought about it, but man, it really did work out very well. He's also not allowed in the hotel, so I'm like, it's a good thing he's 8 pounds. He's just gonna like sneak him in a
Sneak him in.
backpack.
That's awesome.
He's so tiny. I'm like, all right. He doesn't bark. He's very
How
tiny,
how
so it's
old
sort of a
right
win-win.
now?
He just turned 5 months.
When we got our mini dachshund, we put her next to a Beanie Baby. They're the same size at 8 weeks.
Oh my God.
Stop
Isn't
it.
that
Yeah.
funny?
Yeah. It was
That is
so
hysterical. We found this little statue thing of it was in TJ Maxx's little it's just like the ceramic little dachshund and similar when we first got him home. Only then he's grown obviously since then, but same size. Tiny little thing. He was 2.5 pounds when we got him. Now he's 8, so he feels huge to us, but he's still very tiny.
Love
He's
it.
cute.
So hey, the other really cool connection we have is Erica's cousin.
That's
Yes,
right. Shout out
that
to my
is
cousin Stephanie
Steph.
because that was one of the first things we like connected on. So why
Well,
don't
and I
you
was
tell us how you guys know each other?
I was trying to think about that. So Steph and I know each other from Babson. So
Mm.
real job, real work is in higher education. And so Steph and I worked very, very closely together. I was at Babson for, gosh, however long I was there, right before I was in this job now. And so we were together at Babson for forever, or forever ago. And we made the discovery when Josh was on. And then I was
Mhm.
trying to think about that, how we even started to make this connection. Like, was it the breakfast stuff? It had to be something Peloton related.
I think it was through Wicked Smart Zone. I think
Wicked
that's how
Smart
we all
Zone.
kind of met each other. Yeah,
How
because
funny.
we joined like the Facebook group and we had just gotten into the whole Peloton thing and we
Yeah.
found them and we're like, this is our people. Like we got the wicked
I thought it was something with that.
accents and all that good
The
stuff
wicked
and
smart and the wicked do
everything just
wicked
clicked.
good.
Do wicked
Yep,
good.
all that good stuff. Yeah, because I was thinking about it. I'm like, I remember that, and it was through that I should have made the connection with the last name, but then Stephanie like saw, I'm like, and I think she had commented on that, and it's just, what a small freaking world it is. Steph, I
It
miss her so
is.
much. She's the best. And
Well,
Steph,
I'm sure she says hello. I'll make sure she sees this too.
please
So
do. With those two cuties, those two adorable, oh my God, that are so grown now.
they just turned 5, I think.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Oh
Well,
my
Janine,
goodness.
we kind of know you, but maybe we don't know
Kinda.
you enough, and our listeners
Mm,
probably don't know you that well, unless they were like Tara Pterodactyl who went to the Peloton studios, or if we have listeners from the Wicked Smart Zone. But let's get
yeah.
the rundown. Who is Jenene
Yeah.
Vernon? Give us the story here.
Oh my gosh, the story. So I am actually, it's very, very, very hard for me to say like wicked smart zone. And it's like whenever it comes up, I'm not a native New Englander. So I grew up in New York. So it's particularly hard, like whenever I talk about wicked smart zone, I honestly, it's so, you can like see it in my face. It's so
You're kind
difficult for
of
me to
grimacing
say.
a little bit. You're like, oh no,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel natural.
I'm like, it is not natural. So yeah, so I grew up in New York, actually in Long Island, and then went down to Virginia for school, stayed in DC for grad school. I didn't move up to Boston until 2009. So my sister, she came to school up here. She went to Holy Cross, and then it just became time, again in your 20s. I'm like, I love Boston so much. I just absolutely need to move up there. But I have not picked up the accent. And I don't know if I'm happy about it. I'm not happy about it, but I will tell you it's very, very unnatural for me to say like it's not so.
Do you still have the
At
New
my
York
best
accent?
though.
Like, how do you say bagel or coffee?
I'm actually I bagel coffee. So I've pretty much gotten rid of the New York accent. It was thick, if you can believe it. I used to have the thickest New York accent to the point that when I went to school in Virginia, my hallmates, I remember them saying to me, I literally don't know what you're saying right now because it was so, so, so thick. So I think between like going down to Virginia and then I was in DC and then coming up here, I think over time it's sort of like whittled its way out.
Mm.
But I'll tell you, like aging myself, watching like old videotapes and home movies and stuff like that, hearing my accent, it used to be super, super thick. Like I was a coffee kind of girl, the mall,
Coffee.
like draw instead of drawer. Like I literally thought until an embarrassingly old age that draw, like the thing you pull out was DRAW. Like that's just how you said it. So that's what it was, right? The thickest accent. So no, I have absolutely gotten rid of that. So unless I'm like, if I start talking really fast or if I'm in New York for too long, then it'll start to come out again. So it's important that like when I go to Peloton, I go and I like
You
leave,
go
get
and then
out
you
of there.
come right
Otherwise,
back. You're like, I can't stay, but
I
I'll
can't.
I'll, I'll
I
be
can't.
back. Yeah.
I'll be back. Exactly. So I grew up on Long Island. I just can't stay there for too long. Otherwise, I like lose my Boston card. I'm kicked out and I'm not allowed back in. So I
So
have to,
like,
I have to come back quickly.
what are your sports teams then?
My sports teams are the Mets.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, the Mets.
usually
So my
you don't
dad,
usually hear about the Mets. You usually hear
you
about the
don't.
Yankees. So
I am not a Yankees fan at all. Like more power to the people who are Yankees fans. My dad, my whole family for the most part grew up in like Brooklyn. So my dad's side of the family was Brooklyn,
Mm.
and my mom was Queens, but really, Queens was whatever Queens was. But my dad was actually a baseball player. My dad actually played for the Yankees.
No way.
Yeah, he did. He did. He has got a really, really cool history in baseball. But because he grew up in Brooklyn, he was a Brooklyn Dodgers fan. And then Dodgers went to LA, Mets replaced them. So like I only grew up on watching the Mets over and over and over and over again. So like once in a while I like to like throw a 1986 out there for Josh and be like, how was that, right? Because that's the only claim to fame the Mets can have over like anybody. So I'm mostly a baseball girl. So really, it's my only like New York sports connection are the Mets, and then other than that, it's. But I still love the Red Sox. I love going to games. I always say I'll root for the Red Sox if they're playing anyone but the Mets. So we went to like one Red Sox Mets game, and it was very fun. The Mets won.
Nice.
I totally get that. When in
Yeah.
Rome, you gotta kind
Were
of go
you
with
with
the
like a
flow
bunch of
and
Red
whoever
Sox
you're
fans, and were you
you're
like
with.
rubbing it in? Ha 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 ha.
Just my husband, and yes, very, very, very much so. Except like I can't really rub it in because they suck, right? So there's only so much I can like.
In the
There's only so
moment,
long
though,
I can really take that
you
in the
won.
moment.
It's that moment.
Absolutely,
Yeah. You're like, hey,
absolutely,
we paid $200 something for these tickets, and I
exactly,
left happy, and you did. That's funny.
exactly.
At least
Yeah, it was
somebody left
wonderful.
happy.
Exactly.
So you've mentioned Josh, Vern on a
Yes,
bike, and if
Vern on a
you moved
bike.
to Boston in 2009, when did
Yeah.
you meet Vern on a bike? Give us the on the runs love story. Spare
Oh,
Oh, we
no
love the love
details.
stories.
you guys, the love story. So 2018.
He
He hit
walks
the
into the
street. I
room.
remember
There's
that.
the sun shining on him. It's reflecting off his forehead. And then all of a
Absolutely
sudden,
not.
this big smile appears, and you're just like, mine.
Absolutely not. Not at all. You guys, we met. Oh my God. We met online. Totally valid, totally fine. Anyone out there who's online dating, I fully, fully support it.
Hmm.
On Tinder, which he loves to make sure people know that. We met on Tinder. It happens. It happens. People fall in love on Tinder. If you're listening to this and you're online dating and you're on Tinder, it happens. There's hope.
Is Tinder still
There's
around,
hope.
though?
I don't know. Is it?
I hope you
I
don't
have no
know.
idea. I don't know. I have no
Yeah, me
idea.
neither.
No
It's
clue.
gotta be. I don't know.
Someone needs to comment. Is it
Yeah,
still
our
around?
single listeners, let us know what the new and hip dating apps are these days.
Yeah. Well, exactly. What do people do, right? Is it like, I mean, it was like Match.com. I don't even
Is
remember,
there
but
like
he
an
was on Tinder
algorithm
and
that
I found
just
him on,
matches you with someone and says, this is your next wife?
right? There's got to be, I bet you anything, there's got to be, like, they're all like themed and stuff. I bet there's like a running one. Peloton supposedly has like a
Yeah,
Peloton
Strava.
singles thing. Someone was telling, exactly. Strava is the Tinder for runners. That should be
mean,
their new tagline. Oh my God, I think you should. I don't know if are you marketing? Because you should be.
I'm
Strava.
not, but we can find some people to help us get that off the ground.
Make sure you get credit for that.
I
I
cannot be the
heard.
first one to think of that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the dating app thing. Yeah. Yeah. So we
So
met.
you
We met
met
on
on
Tinder.
Tinder, so who sent the first message?
Oh my God, I don't remember. I think he messaged me. This is a good question for him. I'm pretty sure he messaged me. I remember, I don't even know if I've told him this. I remember I was talking to him and one other guy at that same time, and the other guy just kind of like fell off.
Nice.
And
Hmm.
then Josh, the rest is history from there. We met up in Watertown at a bar, which is just so ironic now considering like our love story and our journey together, right? Like
Hmm.
the bars, the eating out, all that stuff. Um, and the rest was history. Like he likes to say like we met and then he moved in the next day. Like that is not true, but it is true that we met, and from that point on, it was like we were inseparable.
Were you two like
Also
wicked into
cute.
the fitness and running though at the time? I don't think you were, right?
No, well, no. I was active, right? I was like 5Ks, 10Ks. I was big, big, big into Orange Theory. Love Orange Theory. Shout out to Orange Theory. Was absolutely super, super into that. I wasn't really doing any like long distance. I had done some like half marathons at the time, taken a little bit of a break from it, but Josh, absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. People assume that like we met on like, on like a running club or like a fitness thing or like an
Strava.
Orange Theory, Strava, exactly. No, absolutely not. We met online and like he probably hadn't worked out in like, and he loves the story, right? Probably in about like 20 years, right? He saw something yesterday on his Facebook memories that was one of his friends had tried to start this like new challenge of like getting people healthy, and this was like 15 years ago. And he had posted like, I feel like a new person. I did 25 crunches, a plank for 30 seconds, and like 10 push-ups, which, hey, I am a big fan of like movement is movement. But knowing my husband now, um, he was he was so proud of himself for that. And I think that's so sweet. Now, after that was probably the last time he had done it for like another, 14 days and 14 years and like 364 days. But no, like at that point, we were very much like it was not like a fitness running journey thing together. It was just, I, I have a picture. I don't know if you guys have seen it online, but I have this one picture of the first time I made Josh come on a run with me. I need to find this picture. Um,
Please.
I need to find this picture. It's the first time I made Josh come on a run with me. It was like the middle of winter. Um, and I was like, just come with me, right? It's like a 3 mile loop around like Watertown. And, at that stage, we're taking pictures of everything we do. We take a picture before we go on this run. And he is making this face like, I hate this girl right now. It's like,
Yes.
"Urgh." I need to find this picture and send it to you guys. And I take the liberty of, or I used to take the liberty of before all of his races, like reposting it and be like, in honor of this triathlon, in honor of this Ironman that he's about to do. Good luck to this guy who, has this face that he's about to kill me because I'm about to make him come on a 3 mile run with me, which of course he kicked my ass in it still. But yeah, no, we were on a very, very, very different journey when we met, and it's just sort of been something that together we've like refound a passion for.
That's excellent. So,
Yeah.
what kind of stuff do you guys really enjoy doing together? Is it just running, or
Yeah.
will you go for
I won't
swims
run with
together?
him.
I know Josh
No.
has his he's very tri focused right now, but like, do you guys play
Yeah.
pickleball together? Like other fun things?
No, I mean, so I went for, now when I say like we do this together, I am like very clear with him that I will not go on a run with him because first of all, he's like so super fast. He's, Mr. I'm trying to like qualify for Boston. I'm like, I am not. I was solid middle of the packer, but we'll still like, we run together, but not together. Like we'll go to the track and whatnot,
Yeah.
and do that kind of stuff. And I went for, he loves his swimming. I'm a terrible swimmer. I love it, but I'm awful at it. So every once in a while, I'll try and join him at the gym for a swim. But yeah, we just like to do stuff like active. Like we'll go on hikes together. Like certainly we'll try and do like our vacation stuff around hiking, around snorkeling. Like we love anything that's active, right? But
Hmm.
it's, we try to do things that are like not just that everyday stuff together. So build into vacations, like we do snowshoeing and, anything that's really like outside and stuff like that.
Yeah,
We'll
you guys
try
get the
and
variety. That's good.
we try to like love snorkeling, anything in the water. Again, like terrible swimmer, but for snorkeling, fine. I can hold my own, right? Um,
True.
but we like to like be outside, be active. But like, don't get me wrong. We like to sit on the couch. Like this past weekend when he was done with his, Ironman relay, we sat on the couch probably the entire rest of the weekend and just like watched the Olympics, right? So like, as
Hmm.
much as we love all of that active stuff, we love like to sit and veg and watch like, we're big Netflix and chill kind of people, right? And
Awesome.
documentaries and watching watching the loopy loop over and over and over again on like on a live broadcast. So we enjoy that too.
That made me so happy to hear you say that. I
It was
I
so
was
much
telling
fun.
Janine earlier that I am the one who will sit and watch a marathon. Like I will watch the Olympic marathon. I'm so looking forward to it.
I
And I
can't
call
wait.
that my Indy 500 because I will sit and watch that. Eric will not, but he will watch NASCAR and
I would watch
cars
the
go in a
marathon,
circle. I know, but we all have our things.
but I
So
get it.
like
Like I won't
I
watch
can
golf,
focus
and
on
some people
that.
watch golf. Yeah,
Yes, I
Exactly.
don't
So
understand
everybody's got
that.
their own thing. Like I would totally watch people run in loops, like
And
like
looks,
they do
it's
at Loop de
literally
Looper.
just,
It's
it's so
awesome.
wild, but it was so intriguing. Just that I mean, God bless you guys for the ultra stuff. It's absolutely fantastic. But I think it was like my first real exposure into that, other than like listening to you all talk about that kind of thing. Like I had never really paid too much attention to it. And then, our friend was doing it and turns out there was a live stream. And I'm telling you, we
So
were just
cool.
like hooked on it. And it was just very, very fascinating. It definitely like was something like I'm like, okay, this is really interesting to me. It, like opened up my eyes to that ultra world that I can understand, Erica,
Awesome.
why it like hooks you in. I totally understand that.
Yeah, you get the grit and the determination from
Yes,
everybody who's doing loop after
exactly.
loop after loop.
Wild,
and
absolutely
thank you.
wild.
You
So
said you
yeah.
guys doing the ultra thing. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's hard work being an ultra Sherpa.
We're trying to get him into
Hey,
at least
sure,
a 6 hour. That's a
I
start.
get that. I totally understand that. But hey, Sherping is hard work. It is hard work.
Yes,
I'm
it is.
telling you, my heart
You've done
rate,
quite a bit.
I have. I have done a lot of Sherping. Um, I I said before I was forced into Sherping that the worst thing in the world you can ever make me do is like sit and be a spectator. I am a terrible spectator, especially if, so like for the triathlons, swimming scares the life out of me. So the first time I was Sherping for Josh in his first triathlon, my heart rate was as high as his was. We compared after the fact because I get so nervous. I don't understand swimming. It freaks me out so much. So it's like a very high stress activity. So yes, I've done a lot of chirping for his triathlons, and then this past, being forced into Sherpa world this past year with a little injury.
So what is your sport then? What would you say your thing is? Is it running, or did you grow up
It's
playing a big
running.
sport? And yeah.
No, it's so funny. I absolutely do not. So I grew up dancing. So, a sport in its own right, but like very different from now, right? And I was that girl, you guys. I was that girl who, because when you're doing something in high school, you're doing something in college, right? Uh, Running so often is like your punishment, right? Like you're late, you
Yeah.
got to go run, a couple laps, whatever, right? So I hated running growing up, absolutely hated it to the point where I would like do anything to avoid the mile that you would have to do. So like in high school for that, I would do anything. I would be sick that day, right? In
Yep.
college, oh my gosh, this is funny. In college, I took a kinesiology class because, easy A, right? I want to get my good GPA, easy A for the class, right? Paid no attention to what the class was supposed to be. Didn't look at the syllabus, didn't really care. I just wanted like my easy A, right? Comes to find out that a requirement for this class was that you had to run a mile. And this this
Oh
was
no.
after this was after ad drop, right? Like you have this ad drop period where you can drop a class, no problem, no penalty. Oh no, 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 no. This was far after ad drop. I withdrew from the class. Like
Oh no.
I have that scarlet W on my transcript to forever remind me that like I would do anything to avoid the mile. So that is how much I absolutely, absolutely hated running. And this was in college. Like, I'm not young, but it's not like a
It was like
hundred
2
years
years
ago
ago.
that this was exactly. God, I knew I loved you, Eric. Um, yeah, it was up until probably my late 20s, like early 30s, more my early 30s. I really couldn't stand it. It was just not like what my body was built for, right? Because as a dancer, you do 3 minutes on, then you're off. 3 minutes on, then you're off. And like fine for sprinting, right? But that was never what was like a
Mhm.
mile. Again, it felt like a marathon to me at the time. So just the idea of running a mile was enough for me to now have a W on my transcript from college. Thank you very much. So yeah, growing up, it was just the dancing. That was like my life growing up was all about that. And then as I got older, obviously dancing went away, and then I really started to enjoy running. Yeah, it was
I
like
feel like
definitely a switch flip.
I feel like so many of us have a story like that where we either
Yeah,
found running for the first time or had to find
yeah,
it again once you hit 30. And you're
yeah.
like,
That's
you need a
exactly what
sport.
happened
Yeah, because I had it in
for
high
me.
school,
Yeah,
and then my
yep.
whole entire 20s, I was involved in sports and athletics, but never running, and I hated doing more than
Hmm.
a mile. And I even remember one
Absolutely.
day I said, I was probably like 30, and I said, I'm going to quit running. This 5K that happens in
Yeah,
Manchester every year, I said, that's the last time I'm going to run, and I'm going
that's
to buy a
funny.
bike. And then 6
Hmm.
months later, I signed up for another race, and then I started
Yeah,
running again.
that's crazy. That 30, being 30, like that's exactly when I was like if I'm gonna say it was a little opposite for me. It was when I turned 30. I was like, all right, if I'm gonna like turn 30, which now, oh my God, right? It seems so
Mhm.
old at the time. I'm like, if I'm gonna turn 30, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna like look good doing it, right? So it was around that time that I was like, all right, maybe I'll do this running thing. The first race I ever did wasn't actually about the run, it was about the cause. So
Oh, there you
I,
go. Finding a great
which
cause is
it
wonderful too.
made a huge difference. And that was sort of the, okay, this is kind of fun. Like, I'm not a competitive person. I'm not like doing these to try and like win them by any stretch of the
Mhm.
imagination, but it caused like a little competition within myself, right? So I remember it like I remember it like it was yesterday. It was for lung cancer. So my
Mhm.
mom at the time had been diagnosed with lung cancer, and there was a race nearby. It was a 5K. And I was like, okay, I feel like I need to do something, right? As so many people are like, okay, I feel like so helpless. There's not much that I can do, in this situation. And so
Mhm.
there was this race in Washington, D.C., and it was like a couple of months away. And I remember saying, like, I'm gonna train for this. I'm gonna train for this, and I'm gonna do this because I want to do it for her. And I remember being shocked at the time because I did it with a friend who also trained with me, and
Mhm.
she had a friend who the day before called up and they were talking about whatever. And this girl was like, "Oh, I'll just join you for the 5K." And we were like in awe that anybody could just like jump into a 5K when meanwhile we had like been training months and months and months. And again, like no
Yeah.
judgment, like movement is movement. And I anyone, like any kind of movement, I absolutely respect. But it's just wild to think back on the journey and how like starting there, I don't know, it's just, I think for all of us, right? It's just wild to think about like what got you into this. And
Hmm.
I really like have been thinking about that a lot lately. Like, yeah, I went from that girl who has a W on her transcript to getting into it for a cause to,
Yep.
now doing all the things like you just love so much.
Do you remember after that 5K, like were you like, that
Yeah,
was awesome, I want to do it again, or was there like a
I
delay?
do. No, there wasn't so much a delay. That started to get me into like more 5Ks and doing shorter things because it wasn't so much the first race, it was after the second, right? So the
Mm.
second one, after you do that second time and you're like, oh, I just kind of like beat my time. Now, again, we're not talking about like race winning times. I am proudly a middle of the packer, right? Um, but there was something that by doing that second one and being like, oh, this feels good to kind of like see some improvement. It was
Mhm.
after that second one. So anyone who does like one 5K, do a second one, and then I dare anybody to like not do a third and like really, really get into it. So I think it's that difference between that first 5K and the second, and starting to see like, wow, it feels really good to be able to see progress, or just like let me push myself to see if I can do a little bit better. So less between the first and the second. Once the second hit, that's when it was like, okay, like I want to keep doing this.
It's always fun to discover your limits because you're like, how much more can I
1000%.
push? Like, what else do I have to give? So I'm glad that's what it
Says you,
took to
you're gonna
get
do
you
it.
go. I
Says
mean,
you, like, what's the max for you?
I'm still looking for the limit. We're gonna find out.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's so like it's just such a special mind thing. Whether it's, and this like it's the accessibility of running, right? Whether it's you're going from a walk run to a run, right?
Hmm.
Or a walk and you're continuing to try and like
Absolutely.
improve your time, or if it's, hey, I'm trying to get my 100 mile to 110 miles, right? It's and everything in between. It's just like the accessibility of the sport that I think is so important and so special. And like just think it's
Exactly.
so important for people to like not compare themselves to others, because whatever that like first race and second race is for you, like I said, I mean, whether it's
Oh
a
yeah.
walk run to a run or just a walk to a walk run, I think, whatever that means to you is so important in seeing that progress
There's
and whatnot. It's
there's
it's
room
different
for
for
everybody
everybody.
in our
There's room
sport.
for everybody. You just
So
need,
were
your pair of sneakers.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Were these races before or after you and Josh met?
Before,
So
1000% before.
that photo you took of you and him where he's miserable,
Miserable.
who got each other to like do an active race first, like a 5K or something?
So, oh gosh, I got him 1000%, and then just created a monster from there, right? But it actually, I blame his brother, not, I don't blame myself. I blame his brother, and I'll tell you why. So that first run we did in Watertown, absolutely hated me. Then there was a Halloween run. It was a Halloween 5K,
See, that's always fun when you slap
and
a
that's
theme on it and a costume and oh yeah, sign me
we were the
up.
Spartan cheerleaders. Spartan cheerleaders. We love our bad TV, our bad movies. Like, don't think I didn't get that like Mean Girls reference, right? Was it a Mean
Thank
Girls
you so
reference you
much.
just said?
Yep, yep,
Very, very
yep.
impressed with that.
Wonderful.
Yes, 1000%. So we were the Spartan cheerleaders from Saturday Night Live, like anything to cheese it up. And it was in the town that we were living in at the time. And we're like, all right, let's just do this. Like, I had gone out of the way to make these costumes for a party we were at the night before. And I'm like,
Hmm.
we are going to do everything to get all of the like miles, no pun intended, out of these costumes. I mean, they're good costumes. I'll have to send this to you too. But I'm like, we have these costumes. We're gonna do this race. It's around the corner. We're gonna do it. So
We need
he had
pictures.
agreed to do. I'll send them to you. He had agreed to do that race. He claims he let me win by like a couple of seconds. That was probably the first and only time he and I ran together, like actually ran together.
Hmm.
Um, and like towards the end, I'm sprinting to try and beat him. Like, again, not competitive with anyone but myself and probably my husband a little bit. And so that's when, we had finally done a race together, but he didn't really start to get like the Josh that we all know and now I think was very much Peloton related, was very much triathlon related. Like he got hooked into it. His brother kind of hooked him into triathlon, just like sprint triathlon stuff. And
Yeah.
then he got the opportunity to do a, a half Ironman, and the rest is all history for him, which is such a
Well,
great
he
sport.
found his limit last time he was on. He said his limit was half Ironman. He didn't want to go full. I
He,
still think he should go
you
up.
know,
If
you
Erica does
saw
24
things.
ADU, Josh should do a full Ironman.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
He says, and I, he says maybe one day, right? I think it's a
Ooh, we
lot of
got a maybe
thinking.
now.
It's,
What
and
about a
he
maybe
said
from me?
for you, I definitely think, come on, come on.
Eventually.
It's I think the training with the triathlon is I think it's a swim a lot of it, right? Like
Hmm.
if it was just the bike, just the run, I think you can manage that a little bit more, but like it's really hard to train for that long of a swim. So, the good thing about triathlon, and I always like tout this as much as possible, I think it's such a good way to stay healthy because you get that low impact from the bike and the swim to kind of counteract a little bit of that running,
Definitely.
right? So I love that it helps to keep him healthy. And I swear, if I could ride a bike that like actually moved instead of just a Peloton, and if I actually knew how to swim, I'd do it in a second. I just don't. So he claims that like he's not interested in it. I think as our daughter gets older and as we have more like free time in like that next stage of our life, maybe, but I don't support it anytime soon.
Well, let's talk more about you then and not so much about him. What's your jam? What's your favorite event to do?
Um, so I'm only doing the running, right? You're never gonna see me doing the swim. You're never gonna see me doing a bike ride. So for me, it's definitely the runs. I think, my half marathon, right? I love a good half marathon. So
Mm.
far, I haven't done anything more than that. But like I
Same.
really you know, ho- hopefully we have a finish, sometime this year. But yes, I love a good half marathon. I love like the ones in Boston. My last one was the Run to Remember. Big fan of that.
Excellent.
Love the one down. There's one in Virginia Beach, the Shamrock that we do. We've done it 2 years now in a row. I've done it once. He's done it twice. Love that one. There's a lot of Pelotoners to do it. So it's a lot about that community and stuff like that. So I love the kind of distance of the half marathon. So I like started getting back into training for the half marathon, and I think also worked backwards. So like now that I've done more on the half marathon side of things, it's shifted my perspective to being able to do the 5Ks and really push it, right? And really just like
Mm.
see what I'm capable with that. So a little bit backwards. But yeah, I'm a half marathon girl. Hopefully marathon finish sometime soon.
We'll get
Um,
there.
but yeah. But
Didn't you just go
those
to
two are
Disney
good
World
ones.
and run like a Disney half
Yes,
marathon?
that was my first marathon back after injury. So that was the one that I was training for. I got into the 2 course challenge. So one of the most fun races I've absolutely ever done, just because like, not that you have races where people are only about the time, but like quite frankly, like the Disney half marathon, it was the wine and dine half marathon weekend. So I did the 2 course challenge where it was a 10K the Saturday, it was a half marathon the Sunday, and like you guys, the costumes, right? Like, I love the tutus and stuff like that, but these people were in like full on blow up costumes. There were people who were running like Lumiere with the candles
No
up the whole
shit.
time. I'm like, how much freaking upper body work do you need to be able to do that, right? It was just the wildest thing. So that is absolutely up there. I've only done that one once, but just the Disney environment is like so much fun, but so hard to get into. Like, unless you're like the Run Disney is no joke. It's harder than Peloton to get into. It's insane.
Really?
Oh, it's impossible. Like, unless you have like whatever Run Disney membership, where I'm like, oh, God, it would
Very
be fun,
pricey to do that.
but
Yeah.
it's very pricey. It's very pricey. It's super competitive to get into them. So we keep saying if we're going to do another Run Disney race, we're going to try out the different ones, like maybe Princess or
There you go.
Springtime, one of those, try and like see the different aspects of it. But that was absolutely a blast. You had the characters, the costumes, just the whole environment was fantastic. It was one of those like 5 a.m. starts. So that was interesting.
Hmm.
A ton of fun though. Ton of fun.
I knew it was expensive, like
It's
one of the most expensive races you'll ever pay. I did not know it was really hard to get in. And that
It is
scares me
wild.
because I'm scared of like trying to do a Peloton class with Erica again. I'm like, I need Josh and Janine to sign me up
You
because
know what it is?
we'll get to Peloton again, but like the whole Erica and Tara were trying to sign up for classes. They couldn't get in the same class.
Get
And
in
I'm
the
just like,
queue. Get in the queue.
I'm one and done. But you mentioned your injury. So I guess we're
Yeah.
really jumping around, but Erica and I have been following your journey for a few years now.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
had this big injury. Why don't you go into details with the injury and the whole recovery, the whole comeback story?
It has been wild, you guys. It has been absolutely wild. I've never in my life been through anything like this, like in terms of injury and stuff like that. You know, like I said, dancing growing up, I'd broken toe here, broken toe there, like sprained ankle, whatever. But last February, tore my ACL, my MCL, and my meniscus.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it has just been a wild experience. And I'll tell you, like, and especially for anyone who's going through or has gone through the injury, like, it is really like life changing, like in terms of your mentality, like not just the physical side of things, but the mental side of things. Like, as much as it sucked, I've absolutely like I'm so grateful for that experience because honestly, I don't think I would be where I am right now had I not had it. Um, but absolutely took me by surprise. We were on vacation for Josh's birthday, so we were up at Sunday River. We had like one in a silent auction. We had one this like week away at Sunday River. Um, I'm not a huge skier. Let me tell you, Eric, I watched you and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like I wish I did that stuff, right? I am not that at all, but I love skiing. I love being outside. I love like anything snow, anything winter related. So I was super excited to do this. I'd like been starting to take some lessons, really starting to find my groove. And the second to last day, finally had like got myself off the bunny slope. I'm finding these, I'm going on the greens and I'm going on the blues. And let me tell you, I'm feeling like I am like on top of the world, like the queen of the snow. I was not, but like really, really enjoying myself. And so it was like the second to last day and maybe like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And we had, a long day of very much enjoying ourselves. Josh looks at me and he says, all right, so what do you want to do? Like, do you want to go back to the cabin? What do you want to do? And I looked at him and I said, let's do one more run,
Oh,
which is like
no.
staying quiet in an
Never
emergency
say
room.
those words.
Oh.
You always
Now
got
I
to say
know
2
that.
more. Ah. But
Now
continue.
I
Sorry.
know that.
So one more run.
No, it was one more run. So, we go up and I had really enjoyed this one particular run that we had done. And, I'm going down probably a little faster than I should, but I'm okay. I'm like talking to myself, you're fine, you're fine. And it's very blurry to me, but Josh, Mr. Social Media happens to have this on video because he's like taking pictures, planning on
Oh no.
posting. He has me on video. And I guess what happened was someone kind of cut me off and not being an experienced
Yeah.
skier, I didn't really know what
Snowboarders.
to do.
Ugh.
I had kind of panicked and I keep saying like the skiing went great. It was the falling that didn't go so well. So I fell in just the wrong direction. Like my knee went one way, the ski went the other way, and I felt like I, I knew something was wrong really, really quickly. And, Josh came over and immediately I said to him, I said, something bad happened. And I remember of all the things I remember, I said to him, I'm not going to be able to run. Like something happened.
Oh
I
no.
would have bet my life it was not my ACL. It was not anything like that. But I'm like, something's not right. So at this point, I take my boots off and I'm like, all right, let me try and get up and get myself settled. And so I stand up and my entire kneecap, like the entire knee dislocates. And
Oh
at this
no.
point, I'm in like full on panic mode. Again, nothing like this has ever happened to me. So I am full-fledged panic. Like, what the hell is going on? So at this point, we're like close to the bottom, but not really that close. And I'm like that non-Leo Leo that like does not like attention. Like, don't call me out. Even like the Peloton calls. I'm like, hey, I'm not anything
Yeah.
to like draw attention to myself, right? So I refuse to have him call for help. So there's like another little hill, and I'm sliding down a little bit at a time on my feet. I go to put pressure on it again. It dislocates. Now I'm like, what the hell are we gonna do? So at this point, we're like close to the bunny slopes. I'm scooting down on, on my butt trying to get down, just like I need to get I need to get this stuff off of me. And so
Yeah.
it's like, do you want to go to the clinic? Like, yeah, no. I'm like, yeah, I guess. Like, probably. Like, it can't hurt. Like, let's go to the clinic. Go to the clinic. They do an X-ray. Nothing's wrong. He does like the test to see, there's whatever that test is called to test your ACL. He's like, oh, well, it's not your ACL. I'm like, well, obviously not. Like, of course it's not. Like, ACL injuries, those are like athletes. Of course it's not my ACL. So they don't know what's wrong at this point. When we get home, go to another doctor because now we're at home, we're in Massachusetts, we got to figure out what's going on here. Go to another doctor, does that damn test again. It's not your ACL. I know. Why does everyone keep telling me it's not my ACL? Obviously, it's not my ACL. He's like, let's just get an MRI. Let's see what's going on. All right. Well, 2 weeks later, I get an MRI, ACL, MCL, meniscus. So
Oh my
it
gosh,
was
that's a triple whammy that you
shock.
don't
It was
It
a
want.
wasn't
triple
your
whammy.
ACL, it was just the whole thing. It was the whole kitchen sink.
I was shocked. When I tell you guys, I was shocked. My jaw just like dropped like crazy. So anyone who's ever been through this surgery is like, no, it screws with your mind like big time. So April of last year got the surgery, like very, very, very lucky that the MCL and the meniscus healed on its own. Like, thank you, Peloton, for giving like the strength going into this because they say, right, like having all of that stuff, part of the reason why they couldn't detect it was the ACL because my like quads were so strong. So like shout out to Peloton
Oh,
strength, right? And then they said
yep.
like part of the help with the recovery is that, staying active ahead of time. But yeah, I had to have surgery last April and it's just been it is a wild recovery. It is a really wild recovery. And I think it's partially like I said, the physical aspect of it, but the mental aspect of it, it's really hard when that thing that is like your stress reliever, I think it's the hardest part is the thing that was my stress reliever became the cause of my stress, right? So
Right.
it's like, how am I going to get out this stress? I've got nothing, right? I can't run. Like I would do as much as I could when I finally could, but you know, those things that when you have a bad day or you just have like a lot going on, I want to go for a run, I want to go for a walk, I want to go on the bike. I couldn't do that, right? Like,
Hmm.
so there's a lot about that comes with like building that mental strength, coming back from an injury like that to like
Yeah.
building your as much as like your physical and your mental strength that comes along with it. 'Cause I remember being on the floor even after I had my brace off and like trying to do a bridge, right? Because they're like, you got to do this because it's going to build your strength. And I could not get myself more than like a couple of inches off the floor. And I remember thinking to myself, everyone says, you're going to get through this, you're going to get through this. But like what they don't tell you is like, everyone probably questions, well, what if I'm that one person who does not come back as strong? And I
Hmm.
absolutely had myself going through that a lot of times. And like, had it not been for Josh, had it not been for my friends, my family, had it honestly not been for the Peloton community, like the Peloton community was absolutely huge in my recovery because it gave me like motivation and, people just kind of like patting you on the back and not that you look for that external, but it's like, okay, I'm really doing this like for a reason. I'm really doing this because I can come back stronger. But man,
Hmm.
it really like messes with your mind quite a bit. Like you have to have a lot of patience. So it's been when I hit that year mark, when I hit the 9 month mark, I started to be able to do like I started to feel a little bit more like myself. And then once I hit
Nine
the
months?
year, 9 months, I did
Yeah, I
my
was gonna
first 5K
ask.
back from it. Yeah. I did that first 5K back at 3 months, which I do not recommend. Like I did not tell my physical therapist about that, but like I was just
Shame,
scooching.
shame.
Yeah, I know. I do
Yeah.
not recommend it. I was just scooching, but like I felt like mentally I had to do that for myself, and I was super careful. I had my brace, all of that good stuff, but
Yep.
I really felt I needed to do that for myself to just start to feel like myself again, right? It's like this identity is just taken away from
Right.
you.
Yep.
So I did the first one at 3 months, then my first, and I did like a 10K back. I think it was like October, November. Um, Oh, it was the first 10K back was the one with Disney. So that was early November. So that was about 6 months after. And then did my first half marathon back right after that 10K. So that was a really big race for me. I wasn't trying to do time. I really wanted to get back into it because when this all happened, I had just started to pick up like more distance running for myself. I was planning on doing that Shamrock Marathon
Hmm.
in March, right the month after I had my surgery. I was starting to get back to training. I was building my miles, really excited about this motivation. And again, just ripped away from me. So I had to like sit
Right.
there and Sherpa Josh and Sherpa my friends that were doing that race. And while that was fun, you can like be excited to be Sherping for people. And at the same time, it's not like an either or, still kind of feel really sad for yourself that this thing that
Oh,
you really wanted to do
absolutely.
is taken away, you know? So that half marathon back this past November 2023 was like, I just want to get through this to like start to feel like myself again. And so that was a really good starting point into finding this like journey back for myself. And I've just been like trying to build upon that ever since, like just again staying patient, you know, really making sure like taking care of my body, taking care of my mind. Because again, I just can't stress enough, like, and you know, I'm sure you guys have had your injuries, right? It's just the way it messes with your mind.
Yeah.
You really have to become stronger mentally, but also give yourself a little bit of grace in saying, there's going to be ups and downs, but the trend, like it's sort of like your weight, right? You don't like they say you should never weigh yourself like every day, or the stock market, every day it's going up and down. But like as long
Hmm.
as the trend is going forward and you're seeing progress, you know, don't be so hard on yourself for those setbacks. So it's been a lot of that with incredible encouragement, like I said, from Josh, my friends, my family, and honestly, Peloton.
What a great support system you had. And
It's
I
really, really
totally
great.
do understand that once you have such an injury like that and you're kind of starting from scratch, like once you get the go
Hmm.
ahead, you're like, all right, I've got this motivation back. Let's see what I
Yes.
can do. And you just have to make sure that you give yourself grace because you're
Yes.
starting over basically, and you can
You
have
are.
your post injury PRs and just be proud
Yes,
of all
that's
the progress you
absolutely.
make. And
Hmm.
but it's so nice to
Absolutely.
just get that the green flag to just go and start
Really
doing what you
nice.
love again.
Yeah. It's funny because I measure everything and like I'm still not at my like pre-race half marathon PR, but each half
Yeah,
marathon that I've done since the injury, my time has been getting better and better. And it's not, you know,
good.
I don't look at that for check marks of anything for other than just myself and my progress, right?
Like you said,
So
it's the
I hope
progress, and
it's the
you're seeing the
progress.
trend, the upward trend.
1000%, absolutely. So it's been a really tough but really rewarding journey because it's allowed me to look back and say, first of all, never take your body for granted. Never, ever take for granted what your body is able to do for you. Because before the injury, like physically, I was very capable of doing more than I was doing, but I think mentally something was like keeping me back from doing more. I was just like scared to push, scared to train for a marathon, scared to do this. And then the injury happened, and that's like, you know, like it's just ripped away from you. And
Yeah,
so I've done this swap since that where it's okay, my mind is ready. My mind wants to push more. I want to like check this off and check that off. But my mind has to follow what my body's telling me now. So
definitely.
it's
That's the
this
key.
really like swap and it I will tell you like again, I mean anyone who's listening who's had an injury knows like you just don't take anything for granted with what your body can do. And if you are in the fortunate position where your mind and body are really allowing yourself to, you know, are kind of meshing and really meeting each other, then it is a blessing. And, you know, we should all consider ourselves fortunate when we're in that situation.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Where would you put yourself now? Are you like at 100%, 95%, or 80?
Yeah.
Like I know it's been a long time, well
It
over a
has.
year since the
Yeah.
surgery, but
Yeah.
percentage wise, how are you feeling
Yeah.
post surgery?
Close to 100, close to 100, like very, very close to 100. I don't like to say 100 yet because it's still very crickly and crackly. Um,
Mm.
and it's very interesting. I think what happens with an injury like that, people are always asking me, how's your knee? And I'm like, my knee is great. It's everything else that has come from how you overcompensate for an injury like that. I'm
Mhm.
like,
Right.
you know, it was my left knee. I'm like, I'll be damned if everything on my right side is just like, oh my God, my right ankle, my right knee, my right hip, because it sort of like throws everything off alignment. So
Yeah.
it's trying to now, I don't like to say I'm at 100% because I'm really trying to find that that balance now, like trying to do more chiropractic work, some stretching, and like really getting better with stretching and stuff like that. So
Yay.
really, really,
I am not.
I am not
Working
good
on
at
it.
it. I am not good at it. But thank God it was a very textbook case. The ACL repair, everything went exactly like, they expected. The progress has been as expected. And so it's just a matter of kind of resetting everything else that that I put a little bit extra, you put a little bit of extra pressure on when you have something like that. So really, really close.
Were you doing like PT and stuff, like scheduled just
Yeah.
for the ACL, or are you still doing it now, or do you have to like
No,
remember what the guy had you
I
do
remember.
and do it yourself?
Yeah, it's a lot more of that. I mean, I am not a fan of it. It's not to say I'm not a fan of PT. I love it and it's the right thing to do, right? But
It's
I have a really
helpful,
hard
but
time. Yeah, it's just like stretching. I have a really hard time like pressing pause and like going to do that. So I did pretty intense PT. It was like 3 times a week, and then it went to two, one every other week. So I did that just to get me back to up until I got back to my first race. So I have a picture of like me and my PT with my Run Disney shirt on. I gave her flowers. So we have this really cute picture. Of doing that. And so once I hit that race, I was like, okay, I feel like I've absorbed enough to be able to do it on my own. And it's nice because it does put a little bit of the onus on you and your own accountability for if
Mhm.
if I want to do this, I have to hold myself accountable for the stretching, doing the proper like strength exercises, not just like the fun ones, right? You
I
have to do
know.
those jump squats, you have to do those damn, jump lunges, because that's the way you're going to get better. So it's been a lot of trying to do that on my own, but also listening, doing more around nutrition, just really trying to do like the whole body thing because again, it's like body, mind, soul trying to get me, to this next step and just make sure the ACL cooperates, the body cooperates. So
Hey, you know what Peloton should do? This is
mm.
genius. I hope they're listening, and I hope they give me credit and they like let me come to the studio whenever to do a ride without having to sign up the way you have to sign up now. They should have a PT series,
It would be so good.
like a
It's just
preventative
it's
maintenance
yeah.
type series where
Mhm.
have one for ACLs and surgeries, knees, feet.
They have so many
Marcel can
specialized
do it.
classes
Yeah,
for
they do.
Yes.
something. So that would be a really great idea if you're suffering from a certain kind of injury, like even a
Yeah,
shoulder injury, like different
Right.
exercises you can
1000%.
And
do.
it
And
not only is it strength exercises for that shoulder, but it'll be
Mhm.
stretching exercises and these little things. Because I know they do it for mothers just after birth.
I
they have
love
like
that. Yes,
specialized yoga classes. Like,
yes.
they could run with this.
I
Yeah.
mean, I might know someone who knows someone who can like drop that in and
Yeah.
give you credit,
Yeah.
right? Like, no, it's
Yeah.
actually a very, very, very brilliant idea. Because so many of them like have shared their experience, right? So after I had my ACL, like we had started, to take a lot of classes with Marcel Dinkins, and
Hmm.
had sort of, become close. I don't want to say close with her, but like really, very much enjoyed taking her classes. We had done the Shamrock stuff, just really become big, big, big fan of hers, and she was such an incredible support as I was going through my ACL like recovery. And like sure as shit, like 6 months after, God bless her, she tore her ACL, her left ACL, like it was the same exact injury. So she's been, having her own journey coming back. And like
Yeah.
not just her, right? You have so many Bex has had her own injuries, right? Like remember Selena
Yeah.
had something with her ankle, hey, like we're active, we're going to experience these things. It would be I actually think that's very brilliant, Eric.
Well, the thing is, like Erica mentioned, when she goes, "Oh, it's a good thing you're stretching," and she goes, "I don't stretch yet." Like I stretch, but
I
I
need to
have
be
to
better at
actually
it.
take a Peloton stretching class to
Yes,
think of the good, right,
absolutely.
creative stretches to work on what I'm working on. And they'll have lower body, upper
Absolutely.
body, maybe there'll be legs or
Yeah.
quads, right? Like they need to dabble in that. And so,
Mhm.
yes, we
I
know some
love that.
people, more than one. We know quite a few now.
Yeah. Yeah.
A PT series, like
I love
for
that.
and they only need to do like 2 or 3 for each injury, and then they stay there,
Yes.
and it will remind you like, "Okay, my PT is over. My insurance won't cover anymore.
Yes.
But hey, I have the Peloton app, and I can go in there
Yes.
and focus on my
That's so
hamstring."
useful.
Yeah.
1000%. It's a real stumbling block, like, right? You don't want people's like, insurance is what insurance is. They're going to only cover what they're going to cover. So, like, I think they've
Right.
been so good about focusing on like wellness, health, like really incorporating like not just the physicality of, the workout. It's really that, whole again, the mind, body, soul. So like, I don't know, maybe we can like get something going. I'd love that.
That would be a really cool series to have, like mind, body, soul. So you would have
Yeah.
like a meditation to start off your
Yes.
workout, and then like a good stretch, and maybe like a light cardio or something, and
Yes.
then maybe like a meditation to close it out too. Like there's so
I
many
love
different ways
this.
that they could take this, and I'm giving you credit for that. That was all you. So
I think we've just
that would be
invented,
cool
or
stuff.
Eric's just invented the, the next step of what Peloton, where they can grow. I love it.
To
Going
keep
in a
growing.
good
We're all going to
direction.
keep
Keep
growing.
growing. It's the best.
So we mentioned Peloton. Let's stick with
Love
Peloton
it.
here.
Yes.
We all know the journey of Wicked Smart Zone. We've had Josh on a few times. We know that story. But at
Yeah.
one point, I think your first studio appearance, weren't you invited to the studio because of everything
Yes.
that happened with Wicked Smart Zone?
Yes, it was. I mean, looking back on it now, it's just absolutely unbelievable. Honestly, it's been life-changing. Like, not to say it's dramatic, not to be like overly dramatic, but it really, really, really has been. And honestly, I feel like we've made some of our closest friends through this community. So, like, anybody who doubts that, it's like, what do you mean? It's just a but. No, like, I will go crazy on anyone who like says that. But yes, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a Saturday morning. And we're, just waking up for the morning, and Josh, we're still in bed, and he's like, "Oh my God." And he goes, "I just got invited to Peloton." I'm like, screw you. What are you talking about? Like this is when they were just opening after COVID. And like we felt like they
Right.
were slowly kind of trying to like drop hints that the studio was going to be open. And the number of times we kept saying, like, we've got to really watch this because I will lose my mind if I can go to Peloton once, right? And
Just
sure,
one time.
sure, just one time. And like, I feel like it's coming. I feel like it's coming, right? And like, they don't say anything. They don't do any of these hard launches. I'm like, okay, maybe it's not. Sure enough, they've got a really good community, member community kind of services group that like does this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And so he reads it and then he goes, "Oh my God." And he said, because I said to him, "Well, do you think I can come too?" I was like, "I don't know." And then he goes, "Oh my God," and really like has another epiphany. He says, "They said that they want to have me and 14 of my team members come." And I just like lose my mind. So it
If you
honestly, it
don't
was.
pick me, we're gonna have some problems.
It was honestly, it was such an honor and it was such an incredible experience. Like one, because the studio was just opening, but I say,
Mhm.
and I'll say it like time and time again, every time we go back to the studio, not just the first time, but every time we go back, and it's like a new experience for us, whether it's because we're bringing a group or because we meet somebody new. It's absolutely an incredible experience. So that it was, I think it was June of 2022 maybe. We got to bring 14 people from our team. So we had done like at that point it was very very much focused on like power zone and training and stuff like
Mhm.
that. It's obviously grown significantly since then. But we got to bring 14 people. We went to a live Wilpers class, and it was just an absolutely amazing experience. And it's sort of, Wilpers is he's just the best.
He's
He's such a
adorable.
good guy. He's so damn cute and just so genuinely kind. So
I
it was
have a word
really,
for
really
him, but I won't use it
good.
because it makes Erica uncomfortable.
Wait,
I know
now I need to
exactly what you're gonna
know.
say.
He's a man
Man
rocket.
rocket.
Oh my God,
I've heard it so many times.
I get both sides of that. I totally get that, Eric and Erica. I totally get that as well. I get both sides of it. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it because it's so accurate yet so oddly
I just want to like
weird.
kiss his cheeks. He's so cute. I love him.
He's such a nice guy. So like looking back, like I love going back and taking that class because it was just sort of the start of our journey that has really since built. But I mean, I just can't say enough amazing things about the community. Like it goes beyond the instructors too, right? Like the instructors are absolutely incredible and so encouraging. And I say so many times, like there are so many of them that honestly I could not have gone through this, like this, that just helped me so much through this journey. And I try to tell them, like, you may not realize it. I'm sure you don't realize it. Why would you realize it? But Marcel, like Christine was really huge. Like I took her class the Sunday before my surgery. Wilpers has been amazing. Like Maddie Giacomo, Mariana, like they're they just have been so, they don't know me, right? And they've been so supportive watching this and being encouraging. And whether it's just because they're nice and saying a nice thing, doesn't really matter because it's meant a lot to me and it's really very much helped me
Absolutely.
on that
And you know
journey.
that
But it's
they mean
beyond
it
them.
too.
Yeah,
They
and they're
mean
so
it.
kind. They're so it's there. There's definitely a group of like most of they're all very, very, very kind. But it's just beyond that. It's the people who work there, like the first time I went back after the surgery was like a month or so. I still had my brace on. I had to take like the secret elevator because I couldn't go up and down the stairs. I'll tell you, it was a Wicked Smart Zone takeover and it was a 75-minute class. And I'm like, no, screw you. I'm taking this class. I obviously could not take the class, but it was maybe like a week before I was like, I'm taking the class. I didn't. I had to watch everyone, but like from that point to then just going with like a small brace to going with no brace, it's everyone who works there from like the front desk staff to the PAs, like just very, very kind people who I think because we all have something in common that, it's not just that we all
Even the
love
dudes at the door
Peloton.
who let you in.
Yes, the security guards, exactly. Yes, good old Frank. Shout out to Frank. He's just freaking the best, right? Like, absolutely. There's so many people who they see that this is something that has happened in your life and they are just kind people. And I think because you share something in common, whether it's just Peloton itself or just like an appreciation for health and wellness and fitness, that it's just there's just been a lot of support. And it is so wild to think I really don't know most of these people. And they really impacted the recovery coming back from ACL, but honestly, just like my fitness journey. And it's been a really, really fun experience.
That's so great. And I second what you say. The Peloton community, even just the people who work there, they know that a lot
Yes.
of people travel and
Yes.
they spend their time and their money to go to experience Peloton, and they want to make
Absolutely.
sure that your experience is as wonderful as it can be. So everybody contributes to that, whether it is Frank at the front at the front door
Right.
and like just everybody
Yeah.
at the desk and
It's so
people
true.
in the locker rooms. Like it's just fantastic. So
Yes, the people
we
in the
are
locker
very
rooms, I
jealous.
love them. I love the girls in the locker room are like some of the
They're so
nicest people I've
lovely.
ever met. They're so kind and so patient. Because Lord knows, like
Yeah.
I've locked myself out of those lockers 6,522 times,
We had
and
that
they
issue
never.
when we were learning too.
Yes, yes, I still do it. Like, and they never so much as bat an eyelash. I'm like, I got you. Don't worry about it. So yeah, shout out to the Peloton locker rooms.
But everybody's just there to make sure that you are having a great time, whether it's your first time there or your hundredth
1,000%.
time there. And
Yeah.
yeah, Eric and I are very jealous that we get to, well, you get to go, and we wish we were,
We'll get you
were
in there
hanging
more.
out.
Honestly, it's one of those things once you start
We
to
live
figure out
vicariously
how
through you.
it's one of those things. Once you start to figure it out, as long as you know, like if you can fit the time in, you can get yourself into a Peloton class. It's just a
That's
matter
the
of
hard part, is
getting
getting
that.
the free
It's
time and
the time.
stuff. And
It's
yeah,
the time.
worth
Yeah,
it
yeah.
though.
We lived
So
in
worth
Dutch
it.
for a while just because of the timing, but
Mhm.
yes, you got to have your Thursdays at noon. Go to the studio Peloton, and I hope
Shh, don't give
everyone
away the
does get. I
secrets.
know it's true. I did consider not
Yeah,
saying
stop
it,
telling
but
No,
them.
no, it's okay.
But you know what I want you to tell us, though? You mentioned
what?
very early on this episode, and I hope people at Peloton, if they're listening, will go back and listen to our first Peloton
Yeah,
experience.
it's so good.
But give me your
Bonkers.
first Peloton experience. I know you said it was the 14,
Wild.
but you're walking in the doors and just like
Oh
it's
my
all so
God.
bright. Was it 6 a.m. like us? Was like were you just like taken
Uh-huh.
back by everything there? Like I was a little uncomfortable. Like, am I allowed to go over here? What can I do? What can I just,
1,000%.
I was drafting Josh the entire time, like in the locker room. In the locker room, I was like, what do I do? Where do I go? Do I take one locker? How do I do this? What do I bring my own shoes? I had all these
Yeah.
questions.
Oh yeah.
And what
That
was
was
it
for
like for
us
you?
too.
Because you didn't have someone to draft
Yes.
off of.
We didn't. I can honestly probably tell you exactly what it was like because I feel like we have the entire day documented. Like one picture every 5 minutes of like every experience that we had. It was very, very similar to what you guys had. It was a little different in that, it wasn't a full opening. It was like sort of their soft launch to practice. So we
Oh.
got they gave a lot more stuff away for free, I'll tell you that much. They gave more cookies, they gave us little like goodie bags and stuff like that. They definitely don't do that anymore. But other than that, it was like that. It was the same class, like that early Saturday morning class with Wilpers. Um, Power Zone is Power Zone endurance class. So it's the same kind of thing where I got there super early in the morning. They did it a little differently back then because like what they would do is give you priority if you had a milestone. Now everyone has a milestone, so they rightly so give priority going into the people who
Mhm.
are first timers, right? So that they can have that like front row experience. Um,
Absolutely.
which is it's really really nice that they do that. But yeah, it was very similar in that like we walked in, and all of our the 14 of us all kind of came in at different times. We met the night before us, but like we were all so excited. So like we met at a restaurant bar the night before just to like hang out for a bit, and then we're like, we have to go to sleep. We've got Wilbur's tomorrow. But yeah, you walk in and it was that very same moment. And honestly, to a certain extent, I still get that, right? Like I still get that. Oh my God, right? I still get those like the nerves and the excitement when I walk in because again, it's kind of like a new experience every time. But it was also a little different for us because everyone was new at that time because they hadn't done the full studio
True.
opening. So we had a little bit of grace in that, you know, it was literally everyone's first time into the studio. They hadn't let anybody in. So we kind of cheated a little bit in that, you know, we we had someone walk us through the whole thing, which they still have
Mhm.
people doing that now. But it was sort of expected that everybody was there for the first time. There's a little bit of grace there, but same kind of thing going into the lockers, being like, what do you mean? How do you set this code? Again, I still do that because it's like the most stressful part of Peloton. Um, and then just like going into the class. Josh and I talk about it all the time because there's a 30-minute Power Zone endurance class, right? And so since that first class, we've definitely had some more experiences, like when we could stack as many classes as possible. Obviously, the
Mhm.
rules have changed since then, but like we were a solid, like we could get a solid 8 classes in a weekend, right? Like really stack them back to back. And, obviously they'll walk away starving, just like
Oh
dripping
yeah.
sweat and exhausted. But looking back at that first class that we took, which again, a 30 hours on endurance, like, dude, that's hard. But we thought we had just like met our max at that point. Like, if only we knew what was to come. But I think it was, there's so much adrenaline. And you guys know, like, again,
Oh, absolutely.
I
Mhm.
still feel that way a lot of times going in now is that adrenaline and the excitement that you get from it. But that first time was definitely it was a cool experience. And then to be so fortunate to have had the opportunity to go back so many times and meet so many instructors and meet so many community members. Because honestly, like, look, I love the instructors, but like meeting the community members, like especially like people the smart the like specific groups, right? You got your Power Zone groups and your Wilpers groups, your little we're
Mhm.
all like our little roadies for our instructors, right? Like we're big in Marcel's army with the Marcel Dinkins stuff, right? So that those communities have again, I think that's part of just the amazing experience of being able to go back and then once you leave the studio, take that with you, right? And that's like
Mhm.
really the benefit of social media is like we hadn't even met until, just what, a couple of months ago, right? But you really, because there's this common bond and because there's this excitement, like you really do like value those relationships that you start to make with people. So we've been very blessed
Definitely.
to not have that first experience, but just to continue to have those experiences. And I hope everyone gets to have that experience. Thursdays at noon, go on Peloton Studio.
We'll be
I'll
back
give I'll, I'll
eventually.
give away the info. I'll give away the
No, we
it's,
want
it's good
everybody to have
stuff.
that
It's
experience
really
too,
good.
because it really was incredible. And
Yeah.
Eric and I need to thank you and Josh for
Oh, it's our
inviting us that one
pleasure.
time. And I mean, it made our whole
I
time, like
love
we
that.
we just had such a wonderful time.
Our
And you got to take more
reaction.
classes, right?
Oh, she did, yeah.
I did. I got into one other
Did you?
class. I took an Andy Spear run, and it
And
was so
Angie
hard
Run.
and so fun. And oh my gosh, I was ecstatic. So
That's awesome.
I
I couldn't
took the
remember if
notes.
it was
Every you
Bex or not.
Oh, I would have died. I would have absolutely
Okay,
died.
We have
Okay.
not done a Bex, but when
That
we
was
go
our off
back,
week.
it's for Bex. And
Okay,
we're going
that was your
together.
off week. Okay.
We're taking you with us.
You just gotta watch the schedule, right? You know when she is, and then the 6 week, we've got you. We've got you. You just
No,
let us
I'm
know when you want to do it, and we'll walk you
I'm
through. It's, and it's not like we have
Leave
this
him.
secret sauce.
I'm
What?
writing an email.
Make it
I'm
work.
going on the inside.
But
I'm
it's not
so
like we have
scared
this
of the
secret
signing up.
sauce. There's nothing to be scared about, nothing at all. What's very hard about is when you're trying to
Well, it's
coordinate
in the middle of the
things, 'cause
day.
even,
It was like
yeah, it's
noon, and I
hard.
had to like log in, and I'm at
Yeah,
work, and all of a sudden I check my phone, and I have 87 unread messages from the
sounds about
Pterodactyl
right.
and Erica group chat, and they're
Gotta
like,
love the
"Hit
group chat.
refresh, do this." They
That's the
obviously
hardest
stopped
part.
working, but
That
no,
is the
we will.
hardest part.
Yeah, we will be back, and we want to go back for Bex. And I
Absolutely.
want to go back after my marathon in November, because then
Yes.
I feel like I'll be in good enough shape to run in a Bex class and not fall flat on my face on a treadmill in the studios.
You
Which brings
won't.
me to my next question. You have
Yeah.
been there so many times. Something has had to have happened. We'll call it the Peloton Studios, New York, Code Brown,
Yes.
because
Oh
I almost
God.
had one. I dropped my water bottle
Did
and I
you?
caught it.
Oh. Oh,
And our
that's
friend
funny.
Allie G told us the story where
Yes.
she
Oh,
ripped her
yeah.
pants in an
Yep.
Emma Lovewell ride. So,
Yep.
of all the times you've been there, has
Yes.
there been any Code Brown moments for you?
Yes. There's been a couple. One where I almost had a code brown. Like, dude, how they shut the door? They shut the door on you like 15, 20 minutes before, and they're like, you can't leave. And the second you tell me I can't leave, I'm like, oh shit, I have to go to the bathroom, right? Like that is just like the mentality of that. And I forget what class it was, but I know it was in the afternoon. I want to say it was an AT class where I was like so excited that you get like the excited, nervous stomach. And I'm like, dude,
Oh
you
yeah.
gotta let me out of here. Like, I've got to go to the bathroom. It all turns out fine. They were very kind. They let me out. They let me back in. But like the second you tell me I can't leave, I'm like, okay, I gotta go to the bathroom. You gotta let me out. But no, the one that really, really sticks out to me was, thank God I was in the back. But they're like, they're pretty strict about like no, like you can't have your phone on. You can have your phone with you, but like make
Mhm.
sure it's turned off. Make sure this, that, and the other. And I forget, I want to say it was a Christine class, whatever class it was. I go to set my watch to record the activity.
Mhm.
And instead of set my watch, I hit find my phone. And let me tell you, my find my phone works on my watch like one every 10 times. Half the time it's telling me like connect to the app to find your phone. I'm like, okay, if I could do that, I wouldn't need the find my phone app. So it
Great.
works like 10% of the time. Well, sure as shit, I press what I think is start my ride, and it's actually find my phone, and my freaking phone goes off. I almost had a heart attack because I know, like, you can't do that, right?
Yeah.
I have never grabbed my phone and hit so many. I don't even know what buttons I started pressing. I just started pressing buttons to make it go off. But thank God it didn't actually continue to go off. And thank God I wasn't in the front. Because yeah, absolutely. That's like that, my anxiety was just like, oh my God, I'm that girl right now. So that was one that absolutely sticks out.
Oh
There was
no.
That's
another time where
awesome.
my seat almost fell. I think I just didn't put it in, like, with all the excitement of getting your thing set up, like my seat started to feel a little loose, and I think I was able to finagle it. But I remember I was towards the front on that one, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking fall and like embarrass myself. So I was able to like sneakily do that. But yeah, those were the two. Like, oh shit. Like as soon as you don't want something to happen, of course it does.
I'm
I was
glad
I'm
you
so
not
took
one
care of
scared
that
the
of
happens
actual
all the
something
time.
happening to
situations. Yeah.
me. I was gonna go in the back, like not the front row, and
No.
Josh, like you said, you guys however they do a first timers, he's ahead of
Yeah,
us, and he kind of held 3 bikes for us, and he goes, "You guys are here," and I'm like, "Oh
you
boy,
have
I'm in the
to.
front now." I'm in the front, and like I said, I kind of dropped my water bottle while putting it down, and I kind of caught it against
Yeah,
my leg. Like I
nice.
squeezed
You
it
know,
between my leg, and I
that's
was able
some
to get a grip on it. And
that's some ninja
if it
shit.
if it went any more down, I would have actually like, kicked it forward right into Matt.
Can you imagine? Oh my
Oh my
God, that
god.
would have man, oh my God, that's so funny. I was gonna say, like, they're actually really good about if you drop your towel, if you drop your water bottle, like they know the camera angles and they're always like everyone's always communicating. So you don't actually see half of like we don't like you just start to pick up on some of the things that they're doing behind the scenes, but like they're good at moving the camera so you're not on, and then someone will grab you your water bottle,
Yeah.
someone will grab you your
Oh,
towel, but it's never actually like shown on the screen. I remember like our first class with Marcel, it was a Halloween class, so she had these like red flags. And she dropped the red flags, and I'm like, what's going to happen here? And it was like very cool behind the scenes stuff where they changed the camera angle, and the person came and picked the red flag up. So they've I've seen them a couple times when someone drops their towel or drops their water bottle. They're very like ninja-esque about, getting that back to you. But I don't know what they would have done if he would have kicked it into Wilford's. That would have been
you would have got attention from him, and is bad
I would have been
attention
on
good
all the
attention? I
memes
don't
and the
know.
reels and everything.
he would have
Peloton
been
gone
that
wrong.
guy,
Yeah.
that guy in the
Never
Peloton
invited
Facebook
back.
groups.
Oh my God, I
But
saw a
if
meme
if I got
recently of
invited back, I mean, they would have canceled Erica Knutson, not Eric, because they called me by the wrong name.
yeah, Eric on the runs or whatever. Yeah. But I saw I think it was like in a Tune Day Arms class or something. There was like a guy off in the camera and he gave like a wink and
The wink,
posted
the
that
other
meme,
day.
the
like
wink.
instantly. I was like, that's so awesome.
The wink
He was
is
even doing like blowing
fantastic.
kisses too. He's like,
Oh, absolutely. Like, have fun with that camera. Every time I see myself on camera, like I'll go back and take the class if I do that. I'm like, oh my God. You're just sitting there and smiling. I'm like, I look like such a fool, but I'm having so much fun. Like, it's fun to have fun with.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I do
It was
remember
about
the
45 minutes of a straight
oh,
smile for us, I think.
right. Your
Oh,
face hurts as
absolutely.
much as your legs do. Your face hurts as much as your legs do, but
Yeah.
it is definitely an
I'm gonna
incredible
go back
experience.
after this and rewatch all the reels we made from that weekend,
It's
from like the whole
fun.
thing. The only thing I don't understand is why did
Memories.
we go to Times Square? That was kind of meh.
It was Tara.
You
wasn't
did or
it?
you
Love
didn't?
you, Tara.
We did. I think we wanted to go and get a
Cute.
picture in our T-shirts that we just got.
Oh, those were nice. The logos and stuff. Yeah,
Winning
of course you gotta
NYC.
get that.
Went in, well, yeah,
You
yeah.
have
It is
to.
not what I thought it was, though.
That's fun. Wait, had
But
you
the
never been
Peloton
to Times
Studios,
Square?
Was it
no,
This
Tara?
was
I think I
it might
went
have been
forever
Tara who
ago.
hasn't.
oh, that's so funny. It's a very wild experience. It makes you
Yeah.
Oh, there
appreciate
are some
quiet.
characters.
Yes, there
But when
are
we go
some
back, we're
little
just going
and
to go to the nice
figurative.
part, Peloton Studios. I'll tell you what, Peloton was not what I expected either. It was a whole lot more.
Really?
So,
Oh,
yeah.
really? Oh,
More.
how
Well, it was a lot more.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's so much more
that's
of
a
a
big place.
production and everything, and just seeing how
Yeah,
everything worked in unison.
it's
It
fun.
was, the whole place was beautiful and so well
Yeah,
kept. And the staff was, like you
they
said,
do a
really
great job.
perfect. So, we're
Yeah,
not trying to get
yeah, it's really
invited to
great.
another Peloton class right now. We're talking about, like, we love you guys. So, if you invite
Love
us
you
though,
guys
we're
too.
definitely not going to decline.
Good to know. Good to know. You know we
I
always
do.
love having you guys.
I want listen to her, Erica. We always love having you guys. She's like, she
Yeah.
lives for Peloton. I do. I want to compliment the two of you though, because you've done these a few times now. We got invited once, but I love how
Yes.
every time you get Josh or you get the opportunity
Yeah.
to bring 10, 12 new people, you're
Yeah.
bringing new people. It's not
Yeah.
always the same group.
Yeah. I give him so much credit for that. Like he's such a great community builder, right? Like I'm his support with that. But this honestly, like this I can't take like any credit other than the fact that I wasn't like, no, don't do this. Like that's the only credit I really take in this situation. He loves building the community. Honestly, it has been such an incredible experience for him. Like that said, hold on, I have to like give him his non-flowers, right? Whatever the opposite of flowers are. Like everyone thinks he was like Joe Peloton from the beginning. Like he was most certainly not. Let's be clear, right? He was not Joe Peloton, and he will tell anybody this, and I've told 8 million people this. So when we first got Peloton, we had just moved into our house. It was right before COVID hit, so right before everything got shut down, and it just so happened that we got the bike because we finally had space for it, right?
Mm.
And lucky us, COVID hit and we had the bike to like be able to do this. And by we, I mean me. He was like not into this at all. He used to call it a fake workout because like Joe Triathlon hadn't
He's
worked
eating
out
his
in
words now.
Joe Triathlon like hadn't worked out in 20 years at that point. And then like right before our wedding, he started getting back into like fitness health. His friend had done this, like again, it was COVID. So like his friend had done this online Facebook challenge, this fitness challenge that just so happened to end on our wedding day. And I was like, you are never gonna touch another weight, another like your sneakers are gonna like grow like spider webs on them. Like we'll see what happens after this wedding. I'm eating my words on that. Um, but he had gotten really into like he's doing a lot of strength work and stuff like that. So he's like, what is this fake workout that you do on this Peloton? Burn on a bike. You heard it here first. Burn on a bike was like, what's this fake Peloton? Now, there,
They love the
from that
dirt,
point,
let's go.
from that point forward, he was like, again, starting to get back into health and fitness. He was starting to do running, a little bit. But winter in New England, he hurt his back, shoveling snow, and he couldn't run for a while. So he's like, okay, let me see this Peloton thing that you swear is like this really incredible thing. And the rest is history. He was just hooked. He was hooked. And I think because he's such a community builder, he saw really, really early what, I think we've all seen since then is that it's not just this like bike that goes nowhere. It's like it really is this incredible community because his tendency is to be like, okay, let me do this, but let me see how I can connect people. So
Yeah.
I like to give him a little bit of a hard time in that like Joe Peloton was like a little bit of a hater at first. And obviously he's been so incredible since then. But yeah, I mean, I give him so much credit because he really does want so many people. But this, I have to give him his props that he's really built this incredible community and wants as many people to experience it as possible because it has made such an impact in his life and our lives. Like he knows that like that recovery process for me would have been very different without this supposed bike that goes nowhere that we all know is so, so, so much more. And I think he's really grateful for that for me, right? That I had that experience. And he's obviously so grateful for the experience he has had in being able to build his health and his wellness through it. So, every time we are fortunate enough to get the chance to do a group ride, we want more people to experience it. So we do try our best to try and include as many new people as possible. As hard as it is, as much as we
Sharing the
love
love.
having the same
As much as we would love to go every time.
we love it's our hardest thing in the world. Our good friend Cece, we love you, Cece. We'd love to have her every time. Our friend Jen, Gus Grip Jen, right? Love to have all you guys all the time. But it really is, as much as we can do to get more people to experience it, and then we can continue to go through, right, as we do more of these. The last one was fun though. We got to do the whole studio takeover, so that was the first time we did that, which was wild, which was absolutely.
Is it always
wild.
mat rides when you get to the invite?
Usually, it's by our choice, right? So we just
It'd
tend
be my
to pick
choice
mat
too.
rides. Yeah, we tend to pick
Yeah.
mat rides. One time they let us do a tread and a bike class, so we did a mat ride. And I think that was the time you guys were. I don't know. I can't remember, but we did a mat ride and a Marcel run. Because we just love Marcel. So we tend to pick the mat classes just because. So it has always been a mat class, and I think it always will be a mat class.
Matt's awesome. Plus, he's got a great time slot, so it definitely factors in.
Says
It's
you.
great.
I am not an early morning person. The only thing I will
I'm
get
not
up
either, but it lets you do more at the studio.
It does. I'll be damned if like I'm not an early morning workout. Like I don't do my runs early morning. I'm a night girl, right? But I will get up
Same.
without. Yes, I love that. There's so few of us.
I
So
know.
few
It's
of us.
hard to come by.
It really is. But like I will get up without complaint for that Peloton class, like 5 o'clock in the morning, no problem. Let me set my alarm so I can go take, a 7 o'clock mat ride and whatnot. So it's worth it.
Well, Jenene, you listened to the podcast because when we
Yes.
first connected here before we went live, you're like, oh my God, you're still sick. So you know a few things we do, and one is called the Code Brown Commandments. I believe you know very well what a Code Brown is and what I'm looking for here. We are looking for advice like thou
Yes.
shall use diaper rash cream to cure chafing,
Yes.
or thou, tricks of the trade, something to avoid
Yeah.
a Code Brown, any oh crap moment. Do you
Yes.
have something to add to our Code Brown
Yes.
Commandments list?
Yes, I absolutely do. I have two sort of, or one and a half. The half is, it depends on the type of person that you are, because I am not a like, let me get to my corral super, super, super early. I am the let me stay by this porta potty as long as humanly possible before I have to get into my corral and run, so that even just mentally I can say, look, you just used the bathroom. You do not need to use the bathroom again. So that's the half, because I know that's
Oh.
not for everybody. Like Josh would be like, no, screw you. Like I'm getting into my corral. I'm getting there. That's not me. So I will wait as long as possible before I do that so I can use the bathroom at the very, very last minute. I do that with Peloton too. But you know what actually really, really helps me is if it's a race where I can listen to music, I always have one or two songs that like mean something to me so that I can listen to that song and it actually distracts me. So this happened on at my last half marathon. It was probably the closest I've come to like a Code Brown moment where I'm like, I don't know. Like I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And sure enough, my music changed and it was a song that like I really got into and it distracted me. And those distractions, you don't really have to go to the bathroom. You are just nervous, you just have something going on. If you can play a trick on your mind, then you will get distracted and chances are that will probably pass. So if it is a run, if it is a ride, if it is whatever it is where you can have music, have a couple songs that like you can get distracted by, because it will like absolutely distract you. And I forgot that I was gonna like have to stop really, really quickly right after that. That one will forever be ingrained in my mind because it was the first time I was like, I'm not gonna make it. It's not gonna happen. And then the music
And it
kind
will
of
help the time
distracted me.
pass.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So on
I
that
live and
note,
die by
Jenene,
that. Yeah.
Good
speaking
segue,
of
Erica.
songs, I tried. We have this amazing Spotify playlist, and I
I
think
love
you
it.
even mentioned
I
that to us when you
know.
were
I
driving
love
down to
it.
Peloton Studios. You're like, yes, you finally did it.
Yes.
What song would you like to add to our playlist? Because we love to invite our guests to add something. So, I mean, on the note of a distraction song, or it's just something that pumps
Yes.
you up.
Yes. I will say, it's so cheesy. Ariana Grande, Break Free. Because you know what? It's
Excellent.
very catchy, right? It's a good, like, it's got a good beat to it. But if you actually stop and listen to the words, they're very good. So if you've got, like, it always tends to come on where I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing this, right? And it's like a really good song too. So it's got the dual benefit of
Love it.
good song, good meaning, good distraction. The next time you
Perfect.
hear it, think of me and my almost code brown.
That you avoided by listening to that song.
I avoided. Thank you, Ariana Grande.
You run into Ariana Grande one day. You say, Ariana, I was about to shit myself. And then your song came on and you saved me.
She'll
I
remember
Gonna
me.
be like, thank you? Question
She'll remember me. Oh my God, how funny. Yeah, it's true though. It's
That'd be a
very,
memorable
very, very
moment.
true.
So
Very
hey,
true.
we've talked about a lot. We have a lot more to
Yeah.
talk about, or that we could
Yeah.
talk about. The notes, like I have the whole fundraising with the big breakfast
Oh
you do
yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything, and the communities you built with Do Wicked Good
Yeah.
and with Wicked Smart Zone. But we've gone long. I want to hear what's next because you've teased it a few times. Fingers
Yeah.
crossed, you're going to move
Fingers
above that
crossed.
half marathon.
Yeah. Yeah. Chicago, you guys, Chicago Marathon in October. I finally, like, it's been a long time coming. I've had it on my bucket list to do a full marathon for some time, but like I said, I think mentally, I just didn't feel ready to do it. And then as I start to get more ready for it mentally, I was like, it was with the Shamrock Half Marathon. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do the Shamrock Half Marathon this year, last year, and next year I'm going to do the full. So I like started to really be like, okay, I can do this. That did not happen. Right. So I decided, okay, I can do this. I really want to start to do it. So Josh and I put our names in for the lottery. We did not get it. Not a big surprise.
I feel like
But
nobody got in this year. It was
I
so
mean,
hard.
it's just so wild. This is just a whole new world for me. It's been so fascinating. Um, but at that point, I had kind of I had started to like really kind of pump myself up. Like, okay, I think I can really do this. Again, like mentally, I was like, okay, I'm coming back. This will be like really, really, really great redemption, but it'll just be really something that'll be really, really good to tax myself. And like, I've wanted to do it for so long. If not now, after all of this, like when? So
Right.
I knew when I got the email that I wasn't accepted from the lottery and I felt disappointed. I knew that, okay, it was definitely the right time. So I'll be damned if. So I said to Josh, I'm like, I still really, really want to do it. Let's look
Hmm.
at charities. Like, you know, like Eric said, we are really into fundraising. Like, I'll raise money, quite frankly, for anything that's a good cause. Um,
Hmm.
so sure enough, we go on the website, we start to look at charities and come across this lung cancer foundation that I have
Is
done
it the
a
one
ton of work.
that's on your shirt right now? Very nice.
Yes, yes, thank you very much. Like shameless plug for Team Longevity. I just love them so, so, so much. But the funny thing is I hadn't even thought about them in terms of the race. I have been participating with them since doing like fundraising, doing walk. I'd been on the planning committee for their walk in Boston. It had just become, one of the cancer charities that I had been very, very involved with since losing my mom. And I'm going through the charities and all of a sudden it's teen longevity. And this is the day that the lottery came out. So like there just so happened to be, I emailed her right away and I said,
Yep.
my husband and I didn't get in the lottery. This is my story in terms of like, I've done a lot of stuff for the Breathe Deep walks. I've done a lot of like cancer. Like I consider myself a pretty avid lung cancer advocate. Do you still have spots? And I swear, like within a half an hour, she wrote back and said, yes, you and your husband, like we'd love to have you.
Nice.
So it has been such a serendipitous experience for me because not only did I have my mind set on doing my first full marathon, but to be able to do it for this team and to do it in memory of my mom, like I cannot think of anything that's going to be better to get me through like every step of those 26.2 miles.
Absolutely.
So that's why like I'm nervous as hell. Like I said, I'm not a distance girl. Like half marathon has been my thing, but there's so many motivations behind this, like between coming back from the HCL surgery, the mental side of things, and then obviously just doing this, in memory of my mom and like everybody else who we've come to learn has really just been impacted by this disease. It's been so serendipitous. And to do it with Josh, he's done a couple of marathons now at this point, but this is his first major. So he's gonna use this to qualify for Boston, knock on wood, and I'm just gonna like
Yes,
I'll,
yes,
I'll see him.
yes.
I'll see him at the finish line. But it is really, really special because he never got to meet my mom, so it's really, really special to have him doing
Mhm.
this for, to be doing this together for so many reasons, physical, mentally, spiritually, um, is just the coolest thing I can ask for. So every time I get a little nervous, I also just simultaneously get really excited too.
Well, I certainly hope that you guys both have an
Thank
incredible experience.
you.
Chicago, as you may have heard, is my favorite of the majors. Sorry,
Yes.
Boston. But you guys are going to
Right.
have a great time. It's a
Yeah,
wonderful place. Go explore, spend
we're
time
going
there, eat
to
the food, eat all the food.
all those
And
pieces.
yep, just keep raising the money for team
Yeah,
longevity.
that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Really excited.
It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited for you. Or as I should
Thank
say,
you.
I'm wicked
Wicked.
excited for you.
Wicked,
I still
wicked.
can't even pull it off, you guys. I can't even say wicked excited. I feel like such a fool every time I say it, but
It
I
was a
have to
I
put the
have
match.
in my
wicked thing
heart.
down. I'll
It
say
was a
wicked, but it's hard to do it with the accent. Like I have to make myself have the Boston in there. So
I get
don't feel bad.
See, I don't really have the accent. I've just always used the word. It's always been in my vocabulary. And
Yeah,
then I
you
had
pull
the
it off.
T-shirt that says "Wicked Awesome." So my big thing is not so much wicked; it's that's wicked awesome.
Yeah,
Mm.
you can pull it off. You can definitely pull it off.
Well, you are wicked awesome. Josh is
Thank
wicked awesome.
you.
Thanks so
Thank
much for
you.
like including us in your
I
lives
love
over
you
the
guys
last
so
few
much.
years.
Our
Like,
pleasure.
like seriously, Josh was a big part of this podcast being from the beginning.
I
He was
remember
episode maybe
that.
was it 12 or
Was
13?
it?
I think so.
But it was
Yeah,
before
in the
that
early days.
because
Wow.
it was before that because I was trying to build this and we just created a Facebook page, which we never use anymore. And he just accepted us into the Wicked Smart Zone page. And one day I
Wow.
messaged him and just said, "Hey, am I allowed to share my podcast on the Wicked
Yeah.
Smart Zone
Yeah.
page? And
Smart.
do you want to come on the podcast as well? Because we only had like 4 guests at that point, and we were like trying to find people locally or someone. So he was just awesome because
Yeah.
he came on the podcast, he
I
built that
remember
community.
that.
Him and I have bounced things off each other for years
Yeah.
now. A little less now because we know what we're doing, but like especially when I was starting the podcast and when he was starting his thing, we
Yeah.
would bounce things all the time.
Of
So,
course.
and I'm pumped for him. His
Yeah.
podcast,
He's doing a
you know,
great
we
job.
tune in, or I tune in. I know it, and that's how I knew. Like, I unfortunately, you had a dog that passed away like
We
a
did.
year ago,
Yeah.
and that's how I found out. And then I talked to him again. So he's the man. You're
Yeah.
the best.
Thank
You are the
you.
better half. You have to admit that
Thank
you're the
you.
better half.
Well, congratulations to you guys. I can't believe it was that early. And I
It
mean,
was
you guys
over
haven't
100
grown.
episodes ago. How
That's
crazy is that?
wild. I'm so happy for you guys. This is so wonderful.
Well,
It's
thank
such a
you.
great community,
He
honestly.
he's
It's
gonna
super
be jealous that
fantastic.
you are doing it on Riverside, and I'm gonna do all the clips, and you'll be on YouTube. And he's just on the original Facebook Messenger I think we used, and
Isn't that funny? Wow, how much you've grown. I'm so
yeah,
proud of you guys. That's awesome.
it's fun. It's fun, and to see what you guys are doing, we're envious, and we're also like
Thank
loving it. We're
you.
loving seeing it, and
Thank
we
you.
love that you included us this past January, and we will be back.
We'll find a way
We
to
will
make it
try.
happen.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we try to connect with Bex and
Yes.
to do a Bex run,
Yeah.
we will give you the heads up if it
Let us
happens
know.
that, right. And so we can hopefully plan the same
We
time.
can. That's the
But I
thing. It's
do
all about the
know,
planning.
yeah, I do know Eric and I have talked about doing it on a weekday.
Nice. All
So,
right. All right. All right. I mean, we would drop anything to go to Peloton. Like the
yes,
number
It's a
of
special
times.
occasion, right?
Come on.
just
If someone
save some PTO days for
exactly
Peloton when we
the
go on
number of
on like a
PTO
Tuesday.
the number of PTO days that we have taken for Peloton, or the number of meetings I've taken from the Courtyard Marriott down the road from Peloton is just like absolutely wild. Like if someone asks us to go to a Peloton and we say no, like we really have something else to do. I don't care what day of the week it is, what time of the day is. We
I feel the
absolutely
same
love
way. I'm
it.
dropping everything. I'll be there.
It's like you're
Worth it.
supposed to go to a wedding, but then you just got to invite to Peloton.
Legit.
Oh, we can't make it to the wedding, but we'll mail you your gift.
It's a legitimate thing. It's true.
Yep.
Oh,
It's a
man.
wicked cool. If you guys, if you have not experienced the Peloton Studio yet, you need
Yeah.
to experience it.
Yes, absolutely. Totally worth it. It's not as intimidating to get on and to get into the class. You just
Can
have to
someone
go
else
through
do it
these
for
things.
me?
It'll happen.
I will
I'm
do
just
it
too
for
busy.
you. I will
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes,
Cool.
just
Awesome.
yes. I will help you. I will do it. Yes, I will do it.
You know what I think? This is the last of the whole experience. The
Yeah.
only negative I had, and the
Yeah.
negative did not involve anything New York City or the studio. It was the group chat.
Oh, I know. I know.
The
I
massive
know.
group
It's
chat.
a lot.
Because you had
Tell
like
it,
15
And
people.
when I would open it up, there would be over
you
100
guys.
unread messages, and I missed so much information.
You
Where I
guys.
do think I just eventually
I
hit
gave him the
Josh up, and I'm
cliff
like,
notes.
I have a
Yeah.
question. I'm sure you've already answered it 5 times, but
It's
I'm not reading all these messages. That
it's
was
a
the overwhelming,
blessing,
and then
yeah.
Erica and Tara must have read them all because they knew what to do. I didn't know what to
I
do because
kept
I
up
didn't
with
read the
them. I
messages.
was
God bless
all
you,
about
because
it.
I could not. I could not. I'll tell you, it's a blessing and a curse because it's we're all very, very, very passionate about this, but that passion, there's a lot. It can be very intimidating because you're not sure what to do and this, that, and the other, but you just you find your people who can help you through it. But yeah, that group chat can be a bit
I
can be
have
a bit
2 people.
overwhelming.
I got my 2 people. Their names are
Yep.
Josh and Janine.
We will help you. We will help you navigate the Peloton Studio experience.
Well, this was a lot of fun. Thank
So
you
much
so much for jumping
fun.
on the
Thank you
pod.
guys.
Good luck in Chicago.
Thank
Erica, send
you.
Janine off.
Oh my gosh. I'm sending all the vibes, all the
Thank you.
healthy like training vibes and
Thank you.
amazing experience vibes. All of it's headed your way. You and
Thank
Josh
you.
have an amazing time. We're going to be following along, so I hope you
Good.
guys are going to be documenting it on
With-
social, or else
Have you met
I
my
might have to
husband?
take a trip. Well, good.
Yes,
But
it will
thank you
definitely
so
be
much for-
documented.
Thank you so much for coming on. You are officially part of the pod fam. I mean, you were before, but now you have your own episode, so you're official. So thank you
Thank
again,
you
Janine.
guys.
You're
It's
wonderful.
been so
And
much
after
fun.
Chicago, don't be afraid to go skiing again. Conquer that mountain. I'll
That's
take
gonna
you.
be the next thing. That is, I gotta be honest, that's the next
No fear.
thing.
I will take you.
Yes,
I'll
that's the
take you
fear I
down the
have yet to
mountain.
overcome. I talk a lot about overcoming fears, but I will because it's so much fun. So I want to get back out, so I know I will.
It's a
I keep telling
blast.
myself at the 2 year mark. Something about the 2 year mark and the ACL feels like, okay, maybe at the 2 year
All
mark.
right. Let me know when you want to go. We'll take you up to Ragged
Sounds
Mountain, and
good.
Adeline and I will take you skiing down the hill.
That's awesome. Sounds good.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. We're super happy. We had really, she's one of our OGs. She's one of our foundation. The poster's right here.
Oh, I love that
I
poster.
you might be in that photo. I'm not. Yes, you are, because I have the Peloton photo, right, Erica? So
think
you
so.
are in there. You're part of the
I'm gonna have
Peloton
to look.
fam.
Mine's like
You're
up there
part of the
now.
foundation. Thank you so much,
My
guys.
pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed Jenene Vernon on the On the Runs podcast. That was wicked awesome.